Welcome to your Agricultural Biotechnology Program, Agribiotech, where we talk about the role of biotechnology in advancing agricultural development in Nigeria. I am Lara Afolayan. Our focus on today's edition of the program is Nigeria's newly approved BT cotton variety for commercial release. The president of Nigeria's National Cotton Association, Anibe Achimogu, will be joining me later on set to share his thoughts on this development. We now begin with what's new in the world of biotechnology around the world. A federal high court in Abuja has given judgment in favor of the National Biosafety Management Agency, the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Justice, the National Biotechnology Development Agency, Ministry of Agriculture, and the National Agency of Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. This follows a suit instituted by the Health of Mother Earth Foundation in September 2017, praying the court to stop permits granted for confined field trials of maize and commercial release of the BT cotton. Presiding Judge Justice Ahmed Mohammed ruled that the matter was not a fundamental rights issue as claimed by the plaintiff. He also held that the action is statute barred and the court lacks the jurisdiction to entertain it, thereby dismissing the suit on grounds of merit. A new paper by scientists at the CGIAR research program on climate change, agriculture and food security has shown that many agricultural technologies and practices, including those qualifying as climate smart, are not achieving their full potential impact because of low levels of adoption by farmers in developing countries. The scientists suggest that there is need to show real impact beyond the plot or site level to impacts for more people over wider areas and for institutions as well as policies that drive the interest in scaling up. The paper identifies the key challenge as improving on promising pilot initiatives so that they can have a substantial impact on poverty. The paper addresses the challenges and disadvantages of specific approaches that hold out promise for scaling up climate-smart agriculture, so it could contribute meaningfully to the challenges of poverty and climate change. Kenya is losing millions of dollars in revenue to unregistered agrochemical dealers and counterfeit pesticides. The country's Agrochemicals Association says counterfeits account for 15 to 20% of agrochemicals being distributed in the country, and this poses a threat to farmers and the environment. Reports say many of the pesticides in the country are expired and their purchase could cost farmers their entire harvest. There are hopes of a new dawn for cotton production in Nigeria following the approval of 2 new cotton varieties by the Varietal Release Committee. On InFocus today, we take a look at what this development holds for cotton growing in the country and the textile industry as well. Cotton is a major raw material in textile production, one of Nigeria's cash crops. Major producing states in Nigeria include Zamfara, Oyo, Kaduna, and Katsina. But there is a huge production deficit in Nigeria, and this has affected local textile production. A visit to one of the farms in northern Nigeria shows farmers have a lot of struggles.
Previously, we don't used to spray this pesticide or insecticide on our cotton farm. As a result, it will be attacked by some insects and we will end up losing a lot because we don't even have fertilizers to apply on it. Other challenges we do face is that of rainfall. As you can see this year, I have to plant twice. When I planted the first time, it did not germinate. So I have to come back again to till the soil and then replant.
At times, you spray the farm, cotton in particular, about 5 to 6 times, depending on the size of emergence of the pest. But unfortunately, due to dishonesty, you find that you may be unfortunate to purchase or to get your supplier or adulterated supply of the pesticides, the chemicals. So instead of even 4 or 5 times to spray, you end up doing it more than that because of the adulteration of the chemicals. No proper checks we are doing. Unlike other farms or other countries also, you are guaranteed the spraying chemicals are good and they kill dogs. Therefore, repeating the spray several times is not there. And once there is this worm or pest, they go to the root of the flowers. And once the flowers are not saved, then there is problem. The ball cannot, the plant, sorry, the plant cannot produce balls.
There is hope in sight for these farmers with the recent approval for commercial release of 2 new genetically modified cotton varieties, which is expected to improve yields.
BT means it has the transgenic resistance to the insect by the inclusion of that particular gene. BT gene is the gene that confers resistance to the insect, in particular cotton bollworm. The conventional varieties have no resistance to cotton bollworm. They are susceptible, but the level of their susceptibility may vary, but they are susceptible. In other words, they have to be sprayed to control those insects. And the use of spray chemicals add more to the cost of production of the farmer. So with the reduction in number of sprays that would be accrued to the cotton crop in the field by having a resistant variety to a particular insect, it reduces the cost of production of the farmer, the environment is protected, and as well it increases the expected yield of the seed cotton in our fields. One very important factor, cotton is a crop that doesn't perform without insecticide spray. It's an insect-loving crop. It's visited by many insects right from emergence. You have aphids, you have sucking pests, you have thrips, you have so many other insects. Among them, the cotton bollworm is most devastating because once you have cotton bollworm in your field that bores into the balls, can destroy it to zero. So you need to do a lot of spray to control such insect and other insect as well. But in breeding, you hardly have this pyramiding of resistances to multiple diseases or insects at once. Sometimes you target major ones so that you now use integrated pest management practice to manage other insects that have less problem on the plant. That was why bollworm is being targeted.
These farmers say they look forward to using the new variety and making more income from it. The BT cotton's advantages over conventional varieties include increase in yields and less pesticide use. It also effectively combats the bollworm.
Even before the release of these varieties, sitting here in this office, while I drive, while I'm at home resting, I receive calls right from the beginning of the season that when are we going for this second trial? They have thought that we are going to be conducting the trial, and many of them are asking when are we going to get the seed. They have had problems that you sometimes come and try a variety and you don't come back to us again. But the major problem is that you are assessing performance among several varieties of a crop in terms of the kind of trial that we conduct. Having conducted the trial, I have found that some of the varieties have performed, have out-yielded the others. We are now convinced that this can be recommended for production by the farmers. That was the eventual release of these varieties for commercial production across cotton-growing belts in Nigeria.
Scientists see the BT cotton variety's introduction into the textile industry as a catalyst to reviving the sector from its present state. And still talking cotton, soon to join me on the program is the president of Nigeria's National Cotton Association and CEO Arewa Cotton and Allied Products, Anibe Achimugu, to speak on recent happenings in the Nigerian cotton industry. But that will be after this break. Do stay with us. Joining me on set is Anibe Achimugu. He is the President, National Cotton Association of Nigeria and CEO, Arewa Cotton and Allied Products. It's good to have you join me on the program.
Thank you, Amandra.
How would you rate government intervention in the cotton industry in Nigeria?
Well, unfortunately, I may not be able to highly rate government at the moment. But then, to be fair to government as well, there are interventions that, we can tap into as an association. And such as the Anchor Borers program. Now, for me, I think that's the best, agricultural program out there. Not only for cotton, but I think for agriculture generally in Nigeria. But there's a need for a focused implementation of the Anchor Borers program. Timing also is important. Whatever processes they need to go through or needs to, be carried out, it should be done on time. For instance, we've been knocking on the door of the Anchor Borers program since last year, December, I recall when we actually wrote to the CBN. But unfortunately, we're still at it. We're still, and season is far gone. So, we need government to help us.
What do you know about the BT cotton? I mean, the genetically modified cotton. I know quite a number of trials have been held here in Nigeria. So what do you know about that particular variety? Well,
I know what they've said to us about the yield potential, which is between 4.1 to 4.5 tons, if I'm not mistaken. I've heard about the quality of the BT cotton as well, and the cost advantage of it, meaning, for instance, where normally you would spray for insects 6 or 7 times on the conventional cotton, you perhaps will only need to spray twice. So the major things that I'm taking out of the BT cotton is the yield potential and the quality of the fiber that we expect to get from it.
You said from what they've said to you, I know some farmers participated in the field trials we had here in Nigeria. Yes. What was their experience like?
Well, I think generally, I think they are quite happy with what the outcome of the trials that was run. Obviously, IR, Institute of Agricultural Research, who are the only institution mandated to work on cotton in Nigeria, also teleguided the trials. So I think the outcome so far, from what I've heard, because I didn't participate directly or as a NACOTA, but the farmers that did participate have good things to say about BT cotton.
And are you in support of using this variety I mean, of planting this variety in Nigeria?
Yes, I'm in support of, look, I support technology, and there's a need to introduce technology into agriculture, particularly in Africa. But that said and done, there are farmers that may still want to continue to use the conventional seed. So we encourage them to use conventional seed, particularly those that are interested in organic cotton farming, for instance. We'll encourage them. From our own membership, we'll encourage them to do that. But we won't stand against anybody that wants to use BT cotton. And BT cotton has just been introduced. Now, some demonstrations are going on commercially. So we're expecting that the results will equally be good. And I think it will speak for itself. And I think farmers also will have a choice. It's all about having a choice.
Talking about the commercial release of this particular variety, how did you receive that news?
Well, I think personally, I was elated. I was elated because technology is coming in. You know, there's, you know, look, you farm cotton, you spend a certain amount of money to farm a hectare of cotton, and you are getting poor yields. Where you are farming, all the effort you're putting in, you are getting higher yields. Of course, is better. So with what we've heard, even before the release, anticipating the approval, I think we were all quite elated. I was elated.
And what are expectations? What do you look forward to?
Well, like I said, I'm looking forward to the seed being available, for instance, next year for farmers to tap into, to use, to utilize. But I don't know exactly how the process is going to, and I support them taking their time to do what they need to do. The scientists are there. They've done what they think is necessary. So, but we as the farmers who are eager to see the seed, to use the seed, and obviously see the impact that it will have for our members.
You're not just a farmer, you're also involved in value addition on cotton. How do you expect, you know, this development to impact on the textile industry of which you belong?
Well, first and foremost, you know, the immediate users of the seed cotton that is produced by farmers are ginners. I'm a ginner, actually. And what we've been, the challenge we've been having over the years is having enough cotton feedstock for us to process and make available to the textile industry. So with improved yields, obviously we're hoping that, you know, that will mean that at least our minimum required quantities will be met and our installed capacities would, you know, go up. You know, the utilization will go up. So we're looking forward to that impact.
I wouldn't know if your association has put in place any kind of measures, I mean, to sensitize your members around the country on this new cotton variety.
Yes, well, I mean, we've spoken to them several times, way before even the release, you know, the approval given. But I think it's going to be a concerted effort going forward, particularly when we know that the seed will get into our hands and what quantities and which areas we're going to deploy. And it's important to also tell the farmers exactly how to use the seed, how to plant the seed. The agronomic practices that are required must be adhered to by the farmers. It's not a magic wand. You must do the work. You must put in the work. And we believe that that is very important, and we will ensure that advocacy is used to get to our farmers for them to understand how to use them.
Getting to this stage of commercial approval took quite some time.
Yes.
Now that, you know, approval has been given for the commercial release, are you satisfied with the pace at which things are moving, or you like things to move faster?
Well, like I said, you know, for the impact or the benefit of BT cotton, for instance, we want it like yesterday, but we must follow the protocols. There are processes. So we want to ensure that the impact will be sustainable. We don't want to rush into anything. And we want to be guided, obviously, by the producers of the seed and our scientists that have been teleguiding the process all this while. So if it will take a little while to introduce the cotton, for it to be as beneficial as we expect it to be, I think waiting an extra maybe 2 seasons is worth it.
Okay, I know quite a number of countries use in the developed world. South Africa, for example, uses genetically modified cotton.
Yeah.
In fact, all of the country produced in that country is genetically modified. I don't know what knowledge you have of what happens in such climes and how you would expect, you know, Nigeria to begin to experience what those countries experience.
Well, I think what I understand by most of these countries that use BT cotton, it is on a large scale. In other words, it's a mechanized farming. We're talking about maybe probably 1,000, 2,000, even upwards of farmland. It's highly mechanized. I guess I'll call it precise farming, so to speak, precision farming, sorry. So far, I mean, we're yet to hear anything negative from their own use of BT. The impact is good in terms of yields, in terms of quality. I mean, these are the things that also we want to benefit from BT. So my experience or my knowledge of such countries, cotton producing countries using BT has been positive so far.
Okay, we've not heard anything negative from what you've said.
Yeah.
But is there any particular platform or action you like, maybe the promoters of this technology to put in place, and even the regulators, so that we do not see this technology being abused? I don't know what you like to see, so we don't have cases of the unexpected happening.
Well, I think for our regulators, to be fair to them, I think they've done a good job so far. They've been teleguiding the process, like I said. They've been working with the developers of the seed. So that is, in that sense, I think they've done more than enough. Now, the seed developers are the ones that will now have to encourage, to ensure that what our regulators have approved is what will continue to, be in play. And obviously, it's a commercial business for them. And if they want a sustainable business, I want to encourage them to ensure that maybe the cost aspect of it, they'll look into it. And, the training and the support, for the use of that technology, I think they must continue to provide.
And quickly, just before you go, I know beyond making cotton available, some other factors, are also needed for the industry to thrive. I mean, talking about infrastructure, finance, a good environment for the businesses to thrive. I wouldn't know what message you will have for government to enable what we've seen, achieve its greatest success.
Well, I think what I perhaps will say to government is that let's target low-hanging fruit. And when I say that, I'm talking about patronage by government. I'm talking about, sometimes we say, oh, the quality of Nigerian products are poor and all that. But if you don't continue to patronize for the manufacturers to improve, then there's no chance for them. Government alone ensuring that its agencies, its paramilitary and the rest, actually buy made in Nigeria material for their uniforms is a major plus. The school uniforms is a major plus. So if government can, in the first instance, even push for that or ensure that that approval, which we have gotten already, is implemented to the latter, I think that's a good way to start. Of course, we all know what the problems are with power and so on and so forth, and I believe that government is looking into such things. But let there be demand, local demand. Let there be patronage from our own government in the first instance, and I think every other thing will just fall into play.
We indeed need to buy Nigeria to help our businesses go in this part of the world.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
And I've been speaking with Anibe Achimugu, the President, National Cotton Association of Nigeria, and Chief Executive Officer of Arewa Cotton and Allied Products. We'll take a quick break and I'll be back with the rest of the program. Do stay with us. Thanks for your emails and messages. I'll take this message on Facebook from Ajao Olumota in southwest Nigeria, who wants to know how many genetically modified crops have been given approval for commercial release. He is also interested in knowing which of these crops he could farm. I have a response to that inquiry, Ajao, from the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, Nigeria. And at this point, we call it a day on today's edition of the program. Keep sending us your emails. The email address as shown on your screen is agribiotech1@yahoo.com. Send us tweets at agribiotech13 or comment on our Facebook page, Agribiotech on TVC. I am Lara Afolain. Bye for now.